Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Don. If you're new to my channel, we like to talk about bass fishing on this channel. And sometimes I get a little off course. Sometimes I get to talking about subjects unrelated to bass fishing. But in my mind, my whole life is bass fishing. So it doesn't really matter what I'm talking about. I'm still, in my mind at least, I'm still somehow tied into bass fishing. Today I want to talk about a subject that I guess would be a stretch for bass fishing, but I can also apply the principles behind it to how it might help my bass fishing. But every year, uh, around January 1st, everybody starts making New Year's resolutions, and I seldom ever do because I know that whatever I think I'm going to do, I end up, I don't last for a couple weeks, a month, whatever it might be. Of course, the number one on everybody's list, the number one thing that we list typically for a resolution is weight loss. Um, and I'm going to go back to the gym, going to do this, going to do that, and life ends up getting in the way, and quite often we don't do any of those things. So today, though, I'm going to talk about one thing, and just one resolution I made this year that I plan to keep. And so far, we're a month into the year, making a little bit of progress. Not much, but I'm making a little bit of progress. And that one resolution is I'm going to learn teach my body how to touch my toes. Now, it probably sounds like a dumb resolution, but I got to tell you, I haven't touched my toes in probably 20 years. Uh, Not that I really have any reason to touch my toes, other than it would be nice to cut my own toenails. Thank God I have a wife who doesn't mind cutting my toenails. A buddy of mine goes to a place where they cut his nails and file them down and everything. I've been tempted to go with him, but I get some pretty ugly feet, and my toenails are nothing to write home about. Um, it'd be funny if I taped it because, my wife actually wears goggles because she doesn't want the clippings to come back and hit her in the face or hit her in the eye. And half the time she's using pliers because, especially on my big toe, the nail gets pretty thick. But anyway, I not only have I not been able to reach to bend over and touch my toes, but to be honest with you, I'm not sure if I've even been able to see them when I'm laying down. Now, part of that is you know, due to the fact that, like a lot of folks, uh, I've gained some weight over the years. Now, I've been on a kind of a diet here for the last 6 months. I've actually lost, I think, about 30 pounds, give or take a couple. Most of my weight, like a lot of people, was right in my stomach, what they call a belly. And not a big beer drinker, but I think you get labeled as having a beer belly when your belly sticks out. And what I've learned is as you get older, the uh, the excess weight that you gain tends to be right there for men. Seems to be right on, at your belly. Um, I've watched my pants size change, and I'm old enough to have, my skinny jeans, my fat jeans, and, the other jeans that I might be able to wear in between. Um, so, so I've been wearing the fat jeans for quite a while, fat shorts. Now that I've lost a few pounds, I'm hoping I can get back into the more moderate sizes. But uh, but now for the first time, I'm actually able to see my toes when I'm laying down, which is quite an improvement. Uh, you might be surprised. I mean, you might next time you get into bed, you might want to just take a minute and lay flat and raise your head up and see if you can see your toes. If you're like me and if your belly's grown at all, you might be surprised. Even though the belly tends to lay a little flat, it's still kind of hard to see your toes. Touching your toes is even more difficult. And you know what's funny is I used to be pretty limber. I used to be able to do all kinds of things. Certainly, sit-ups, crunches, with different types of exercises that you might go through when you're in basic training in the Army. Um, so touching my toes was easy. I mean, I was limber, I was able to, do a lot of the exercises and not even break out in a sweat. But like everything over the years, I stopped exercising and I don't want to say old age crept in, but I think what happens, I think the muscles tighten up. I mean, from different people I've talked to, you can fix the situation just by doing different exercises, and that's really what I'm attempting to do. So, you know, even though I don't have any real medical advice or any real strong evidence that I'm making any gains, um, I'm closer now to touching my toes than I was a month ago. And so I am making progress. And as I said, I'm only a month into it, trying to stretch as much as I can before I work out. And I'm hoping that maybe by the end of February, maybe into March, I'll actually be able to reach down and touch my toes. Ultimately, my goal really is not to touch my toes, and it's really not even to cut my own toenails. My goal is to be able to put on a pair of socks or put on a pair of shoes and be able to lace them up. Um, I haven't done that for so long, I can't even remember doing it. Uh, everything I wear now, I either wear Crocs or I wear these new shoes that, you don't even need a shoehorn for. You just slip your foot into them. But I still am challenged with socks. And, I never was a big fan of socks anyway. And down here in Florida, we don't really need socks too much. But I would like to be able to put them on if I decided to put them on. So ultimately, that's my goal. That's really what I'm after here. So I'm probably going to make an update to this video in a month or, maybe two, and let you know if you're following me. If you watch this video, you might stay tuned. There might be a video in the future here where, I might start out by saying hallelujah. I can touch my toes. Maybe not. Who knows? Uh, anyway, I want to thank you for tuning in today. If you would, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, and by all means, subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to build this channel. I'm learning as I go. I make a lot of mistakes, but there's no editing, so what you see is the real video. Uh, Fortunately, my cat let me make this video without interrupting me, but I'm sure she'll be back for a future video. So again, thanks for tuning in. And, if you have any comments, leave them below and I'll try to get back to you when I can. Thanks again. Have a great day.